episode 509 of Good Luck High Five.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering. Whether you are stoked to head out to Magic 30 this coming weekend, it has arrived, or you're like, no, thank you. I will remain at home and play in the comfort of my pajamas. Thank you very much. We are here for you.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And speaking of Magic 30, we will both be there this weekend.
Woo, because it is none other than the World Championship.
The big one.
The big one.
The big game, as they say.
Yes. Wait a second. No.
Well, we're not allowed to say it.
We're not allowed to say
No, it's copyrighted.
Oh.
We can only say the big game. That's why everybody on commercials is like, you ready for the big game?
What?
Oh, you didn't know that?
What?
Yeah, that's why it sounds so awkward and dumb when people talk about it on TV.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah, they're like, you can't call it that, which I don't know about that for marketing personally.
Yeah, right? Like you would think you would want people to talk about your thing by its name and not by like, here's the weird, here's the weird euphemism name that you have to talk about it by.
Yeah.
Well, what weird euphemism name are we going to give the World Championship?
The
top match.
The top match.
The hot match.
Coming up this weekend, the hot match.
It's the hot match of the year.
Of the year in Magic the Gathering. I know. It's a very strange thing. But
can you go back and beep when I said
yes.
So it sounds like I'm swearing?
Yes, I'm going to beep it out every time.
Every time I say it?
Yes.
Perfect.
Those are all beeped.
Wow, learning something new here today. So today we're going to give you a little preview of what you can see at the hot match of the year.
The hot match of the year.
AKA the World Championship.
Yes. In person now for the first time.
Yes.
In a few years.
Since February 2020.
Wow. But the thing is, too, it's going to be played on Arena, everybody.
Yes.
Which is a little weird because we're shifting over back to the old Pro Tour model, 4 Pro Tours a year in paper.
Yes, but they wanted to do it on Arena because there are several players who will not be attending in person.
Yep.
And they wanted to make sure that there were players who, even if something happened, like they ended up needing to quarantine for COVID if they got sick, or because of COVID travel restrictions, they weren't able to travel to the United States for the event, they would still be able to play.
Yeah.
So this is one of the last big events that we're going to see on Arena.
That's so weird.
Except for the Arena exclusive events.
The Arena Championship and stuff like that.
Exactly. After this, it's back to paper.
Back to paper, everybody.
But we'll be talking about the players that you can see.
Yes.
The sick formats.
Yes.
What's on the line at this event, and so much more.
The decks that we expect them to bring.
Oh.
We won't know for sure until Friday.
Know for sure.
But we've got some predictions. So
we've got some guesses.
And we're going to predict who's going to win the whole thing.
Ooh, hashtag sock bet.
Have we ever been right?
I think. Do you remember there was the year that Marshall called that Huey was going to win?
Oh my gosh, that was a cold called shot.
Yes,
from across the half court.
He was certain.
Yeah.
There was also the year. This was in 2020 when it was the first year of like Find Your Champion or whatever.
Yeah.
And like you and I had both picked people. I don't remember who at this point. And
Doesn't
Athena
matter.
was like, I picked Paolo. Why wouldn't you pick Paolo?
Yeah.
He's the best. Athena was essentially like, if you didn't pick him, you're stupid.
Yep. And she was right.
And she was right.
She was right.
So I would call that a called shot.
That was
on Athena's
also a pretty.
part.
That was
Athena
a half court
like,
shot too. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, dummies! You mean you didn't pick the best player currently playing Magic? Okay.
But this year we're gonna get it right.
Yes, we are.
This year we're gonna be right.
Except not both of us because we're gonna pick different players.
We're not allowed.
Not allowed.
So we'll find out if we do by the time you hear the next episode of Good Luck High Five.
Oh.
When we'll recap the whole shebang this weekend.
Yeah. But before we get started on all of that, and you could argue that we've already started. We've covered a lot of material.
Yeah.
We have some people to thank, and first and foremost amongst them are you, the listeners, and especially the patrons of this show. Thank you so much, specifically to Mark, Roth, and Jamie.
Yay! Thank you, Mark, Roth, and Jamie.
3 new patrons in the past week. Mark, Roth, Jamie, this one's for you. And if you want, since you are new patrons, you now have access to the Discord.
Yes.
You can go to the latest episode channel in our Discord and you can claim which segment is yours specifically.
Yeah. Claim whatever one you want.
Exactly. If one of you wants to
yours.
claim the segment where we learned about the fact that you cannot say the word in an ad.
Don't say it anymore this show, I swear to God. Not going through.
No more time. The big game. If you want to claim the part specifically where I learned you have to call it the big game, you can have that segment all for yourself, or you can have any other part of the episode or the whole thing. But thank you so much to everyone who is a patron for keeping this show on the air.
Yeah, you can head on over to patreon.com/GLHF Magic. We've got different tiers, so whatever you want to subscribe at, you can. $1 is, kind of where we suggest you start.
Yeah.
You can go up from there. You can even go down from there. Anything gets you a patron badge of honor and access to our Discord and various other rewards, including little notifications whenever we publish new content, which is kind of nice.
And
if
you
want.
get an episode, whether you raise your pledge or you become a patron, the episode is yours.
You can also support our sponsor, Card Kingdom. They're pretty rad.
Yes, they are. They already have pre-ordering available for Brothers War.
Yes.
It is coming out soon, which is absolutely mind-boggling, but it's going to happen. And pre-order at Card Kingdom. Fastest shipping in the West.
You can find them at cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Use our little affiliate link for anything you want to buy over there if you want to get a box of Brothers War to play with. I think a lot of players who've been playing Magic for a long time are super stoked for Brothers War.
Ooh.
Seems like a love letter to, players who have been in the game for a long time. You can also you can also order the new Warhammer 40K Commander decks.
Oh, sick. Which I've heard that those are going like hotcakes. They are hard to get your hands on.
And people say they're really, really good too.
So there you go. Go get yourself a Warhammer 40K Commander deck.
I need to get some. This is a reminder for myself to buy them at Card Kingdom.
There you go.
Everybody, this weekend is the crown jewel in competitive Magic.
That's right. It's the hot match of the year.
The World Championship.
The World Championship. There are 32 players, $500,000 in prizes,
Yikes.
including $100K for first.
That's a great prize.
Pretty sick. First place also gets their face on a card.
Love that.
Fervent Champion.
Yes.
Which is
Javier
Dominguez. And Elite Spellbinder, which is Paolo. And I'm very excited. I really hope that we get to see the next one in the series unveiled this time around.
For Yuta Takahashi.
Yes, I want to see Yuta's card.
Me too.
And now we'll have a new world champion after this, and then hopefully next year we'll get to see their card.
I know, we unveiled Paulo's card at the last World Championship, so I'm hopeful that Yuta's is done and that we can see it at this
crossed.
one.
Yeah, like what set is it coming out in? Is it going to come out in Brothers War?
Who knows?
Is it going to come out in Phyrexia?
Who knows?
Will he be Phyrexianized?
The top four also get to come back and play the World Championship in 2023.
Oh, yeah.
So you really want to get top four for sure at this tournament.
Absolutely.
And this is a small field tournament, and these are unique because they don't happen very often.
Yeah.
And what normally that means is that the best players kind of rise to the top.
Yeah.
Because everybody is so stinking good.
And it's also the last small field world championship.
Yes. Yeah. Next year is going to be a big world championship again.
Over 100 players.
Yeah. Wow. So this one I would really highly suggest you tune in for. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on twitch.tv/magic starting at 9 a.m. Pacific. There's going to be 3 formats: draft, standard, and pioneer. Mm-hmm. And people wonder when draft happens. It's the first thing that happens.
Ooh,
so
tune in.
Boom. Kicking off
right
the draft.
Away.
And then it goes into standard and not pioneer, standard and explorer. Did I say pioneer?
Yes.
I meant explorer. I wish it was pioneer. Next year, probably.
Okay. I'm going to say the S word again.
No. We're playing the arena version of pioneer, which is explorer. So I think this is going to be a really, really cool tournament.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is one of our first chances to see Explorer.
Yes.
Like played in a big tournament like this.
At the top, from the top players in the game.
Yeah, so what's going to be happening in there? Well, we'll talk
We'll
about those
find out.
formats.
Yes.
First up, though, like you said, is draft. What is best in Dominaria Draft? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago when the format was still pretty fresh. And some of the answers is that a lot of it's the same.
Yep.
Blue-white tempo, still a great deck.
Yes.
Play some little creatures early and then just like bounce things all day.
And
Just
the blue instants in this set are so very good.
Yes.
That you've just got to give a nod to them. Like Shore Up.
Even the sorceries, like Talarian
Yeah, it doesn't
Geyser.
matter. Talarian Geyser is
Great.
incredible.
Whatever the stun one is, timely No,
that's the one that shrinks them down.
yeah, that shrinks them down. I don't remember.
It doesn't matter.
They're all good.
All the blue instants or sorceries are so strong in this set that if you're in blue, I think you're in a very good position in this draft format.
Yeah, we'll see if people are fighting over blue in these draft
Yeah,
pods.
they very well could be.
Could be.
That's a good point, though. They're playing in pods, everybody.
Yes, they are.
And that is not how we play. Like, we don't play the people we draft with on Arena unless something weird happens.
Yeah.
So you've got to know that everything that you see is going to be played by somebody you have the chance to play against.
Yeah.
So it's a different environment than on Arena.
Yeah, a different feel. The way draft used to be.
The way draft is in human person.
Yeah. Talarian Terror also goes with this blue-white tempo deck,
Oh my
which is you can
God.
just cast a bunch of these great instants and sorceries, and then you can cast a Talarian Terror for basically no mana.
That's the big 5/5.
Yes, it's
with
a-
Ward 2.
Yep, 5/5 Ward 2. It's 6 in a blue, but it costs 1 less for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard.
So what you're trying to do is cast a bunch of like timely interferences, which is a cantrip, meaning you just draw a card off of it or whatever, and then play your Talarian Terror cheated into play early.
Great.
Now
Now you
one
have
mana.
a 5/5. Now you have Big Snack.
Yeah, I think Luis Scott Vargas tweeted out a tweet where he had like 2 or 3 of these on the battlefield on turn 3.
Great.
It was
Amazing.
disgusting.
Really incredible stuff. Good
And
job.
like, what can you do if somebody does that?
Yeah, I
Answer,
don't know.
nothing.
Nothing. They're big.
So I think somebody's going
They
to try
have
and draft
Ward.
that deck for sure.
Absolutely. Also around since the beginning is the red-white aggro deck.
very good.
Around Heroic Charge. And Keldon's Strike Team is another great card in this deck, which is the 3/1 for 1 in a red that you can kick. Wait,
Yeah.
no, it's 3/1 for 2 in a red, and you can kick it for 1 in a white and get 2 1/1s. Everything has haste when it enters the battlefield.
Yep.
And you just attack for a bunch with a lot of little tokens.
Smash Face. The commons in white are really good for this
Yes,
deck.
they are.
So that's another one I expect to be pretty strong in draft.
Yeah. There's also been a lot of different walls decks around.
Walls, yeah.
Obviously, there's the Wingmantle Chaplain deck.
Oh, yeah.
Which is where you're just making birds.
Everyone loves this card.
Birds.
It was the number 1 card to draft.
Yeah.
On 17 lands. It was like, take the Wingmantle Chaplain.
Just do
take it and take
Just
all the
take that
walls
card.
and you will win.
But there's also like a mono black version of walls around stuff like Blight Pile. There's also there's just a lot of great walls decks.
The Blight Pile deck is kind of cool because you can drain them with
Yeah.
Blight Pile based on the number of walls that or creatures with Defender you control. But the one that I am currently into is the Mill Wall deck.
Oh.
Where you just mill them out
With Coral Colony.
With Coral Colony, and it's a controlling deck, which of course I'm terrible at playing.
Coral Colony.
But I've seen people do it, and it's really cool because you just sit there with their walls, and they're like, well, attacking you does nothing.
Yeah.
And then you just mill them for 3 or 4 every single turn.
Nice.
And they're dead.
Real nice.
Which I think these decks are cool to talk about because they're kind of like, not the, Keldon Strike Team deck, of course, but they're like niche decks that you can find within Dominaria United, which makes it such a cool draft format.
It's a very fun draft format, and I'm super excited to watch all these players draft it.
Yeah. And, of course, there's always going to be the big question, who's going to be on Domain?
Yeah.
Because that'll be a fun one to see.
Love us a 5-color deck.
You can't not love a 5-color deck.
You have to
You
love it.
have to.
You are mandated
They're
to love
going
it.
for it. So I'm always most excited for draft whenever it's in one of these big tournaments. It's so fun and such like random things happen. You know, it just, you never quite know how it's going to go down.
And sometimes these players come and draft a deck that you haven't
that you've
seen
never
in the
seen
format
before,
which is
Yes,
so cool.
That's definitely what I always look forward to. Or you could just open a Shieldred.
Yeah, always.
That's just,
always a
an
solid
option
choice.
for you.
Just open.
So,
a really very,
pod
very good
draft
mythic.
back at the World Championship. That's
Yeah.
the first thing you're going to see Friday morning when you tune in. So do not miss the start of the tournament, everybody.
All right. Next up, we've got Explorer and Standard.
Yes.
Explorer is very exciting because, like we've said, it's very fresh. There's a lot of questions of like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening in Explorer?
What is happening? Like we said, it is the pioneer of Arena.
Yeah.
It's the format that was created to kind of work towards Pioneer eventually being available on Arena as we add old sets into the digital client. So it's a cousin of Pioneer.
Yes.
If you've been playing that in paper or following along the coverage of that in paper. But we're going to talk to you about the top 7 decks that we expect to see.
Yeah. This is from an article that Frank Karsten wrote about the anticipated metagame at the World Championship. And even he was like, hey, there's not a lot of data.
Yeah.
On Explorer out there.
There just isn't.
I'm just kind of drawing on my own experience playing the format and other people that I've seen around on the internet talking about their experience in the format, because it's not like there's a big database of deck lists out there for Explorer. It's just not out there that much yet.
Which is exciting because if you think about how Magic started, a lot of people like to talk about the good old days when you couldn't just net deck, go on the internet and be like, oh, I found this deck. You had to bring something creative and you had to kind of just cross your fingers and hope that you got it right, which may be some of the energy that players are bringing to Explorer at this tournament. That's kind of cool.
All right. So in Explorer, starting out, we've got, of course, a classic Rakdos midrange.
Rakdos midrange, what a house in the format right now.
Yes.
Just in any format.
I mean, you're just playing good cards. Rakdos midrange, aka some stinking good cards. You've got Bone Crusher Giant. Welcome back to a format.
Yeah, you can play that.
You can play that here. Remember when that was?
Remember that card?
Remember when that was in Standard? It's back.
I've deleted it from my memory personally.
Kalitas, Trader of Get.
Oh, man.
Oh, I loved this card back in the day.
Kalitas, or do you say Kalitas? That's the real question.
Kalitas. I guess maybe I'm a Kalitas.
I think I want to say Kalitas.
2 black for a 3/4 legendary creature vampire warrior with lifelink. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile that card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. 2 and a black, sacrifice another vampire or a zombie, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Kalitas, Trader of Get.
This deck seems incredibly strong.
Yes. It's also got 2 Kroxa, 2 Sheoldred, Liliana of the Veil, Thoughtseize, of course, Fable of the Meal Breaker.
The Fable of the Meal Breaker. What does that card do? If you have a food token, it destroys it.
Yeah, it destroys it. Fable of the Meal Breaker.
It's also got 4 copies of Blood Tithe Harvester, which is the 3/2 vamp. That card is incredibly strong for just being 2 mana.
Yep.
And then a bunch of sweet kill spells like Abrade, Heartless Act, Fatal Push. Remember Fatal Push? You
yeah,
that.
It is. It is a
seems
once again
strong
all over the place. The next deck that has some people kind of mad sometimes, but they shouldn't be mad because this deck is only sick. Is Abzan Greasefang. Nothing bad about it. What are you going to say bad about the rat? Don't you dare say it.
You know, people get big mad when people are doing things that they perceive as unfair in Magic, even though like this is the game you have signed up for. This is the game.
And so this is a combo deck built around Greasefang Okiba Boss, which is 1 white black for a 4/3 rat pilot. At the beginning of combat on your turn, return target vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of your next end step.
So what are you returning to the battlefield, Meghan?
Oh, you are obviously returning a Parhelion 2. This is the 6 white 5/5 flying first strike vigilance vehicle. Whenever it attacks, create 2 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance that are attacking crew 4.
This deck is stupid.
This deck is so dumb.
I played it in, I think it was in Historic when it first like kind of hit the scene.
Yes.
I remember playing it and playing against it. And the first time I played against it, I was like, wait a second. What is happening to me?
It is just so cool.
I'm dead.
So basically you're trying to put Parhelion into your graveyard using cards like Grizzly Salvage.
Yeah.
This is black-green instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature or land card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard.
Really good.
And Corpse Turn, which mills you 3 cards for 1 and a black, also at instant speed. And then stuff like Stitcher's Supplier. Obviously just getting lots of cards into the graveyard, you have Rafine's Informant, which connives.
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm
great.
like, this deck, as people who have said who love the deck to people who are mad about it, it relies on a 4/3. Like, it relies on a 3-mana creature.
Yeah.
Surviving from the end of through a main phase and into the attack step.
Yeah, that's true.
Just run a kill spell. Run a kill spell.
If you don't got that kill spell, you dead, though.
Play a kill spell.
It's a combo deck. There's ways to disrupt the combo.
There are always ways to disrupt the combo.
But when you can't, it feels pretty bad because that getting hit with that Sky Sovereign console flagship or that Parhelion 2 and those angels is a beating.
It's just so cool.
I love this deck. And it ended up in Obzon colors, which wasn't necessarily the colors it began in other formats. So that's where they landed with it to give you the ability to play cards like Grizzly Salvage, Wither Bloom Command, and Asika's Chariot wound up in here too. So I guess why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, you can always just dump that in your graveyard.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so cool. If you're grumpy, get over it.
What about this deck? Does this one make you grumpy, Megan? It's Mono Blue Spirits.
Mono Blue Spirits? Blue is for control and drawing cards, not tempo, you fools.
Yeah, this is a long-hated deck of Megan's. In Modern is where you mostly hate it.
In Modern, yes. This has cards like, Ascendant Spirit is a new addition to these kinds of decks.
From Kaldheim?
Yes. This is a 1-mana spirit that's a 1/1, but you can level it up with snow mana.
That's cool.
Of course, it's got cards like Rattle Chains, our little flash
Gotta
flying.
have Rattle Chains.
Mausoleum Wanderer, our little you can counter stuff. Yeah.
Supreme Phantom, the Spirit Lord.
Yes. Spectral Sailor, Shacklegeist. You know, I guess if you're going to do it, you can do it.
You play a bunch of spirits, you get aggressive, you tap down their stuff that they might want to block with, you slap a Curious Obsession on your spirits to draw more cards, and then you keep control of the game with cards like Slip Out the Back and Spell Pierce.
Yeah, and Geistlight Snare.
Geistlight Snare.
Is an important one in there, too.
This card,
I guess if you're going to do it, you can do it.
I like this deck. Obviously, this is kind of my style. It's pretty rude.
You gonna put an aura on something?
Okay, that's all I want. Until I see this next deck that Frank's put on the list.
All right, Maria, tell us about this next deck.
Oh my gosh, everybody. I'm so excited. I hope somebody brings this Enigmatic Incarnation deck to the tournament this weekend. Enigmatic Incarnation is an enchantment. Do you remember it?
I do not, Maria. Remind me of it.
2 blue-green for a rare enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another enchantment. If you do, search your library for a creature with mana value cost equal to 1 plus the sacrificed enchantment's converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library.
Whoa.
So you can sacrifice a bunch of weirdo enchantments that you're playing to toolbox yourself and go get whatever kind of creature that you need for any given moment.
And if you're like, what kind of enchantments are we playing? We've got stuff like, of course, Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Big hit. Omen of the Sea. Another great card. Urban Utopia. This one's way out there.
Why not?
This is 1 and a green. Enchant land. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted land has tap, add 1 mana of any color. Of course, our old buddy Fires of Invention.
Yeah, Fires of
Invention. Leyline Binding.
Yeah, this
card is very good.
It's really good, and this deck is 5 colors, I should say.
Yes, so you can cast this for one, but then when you sacrifice it, you can go and get something that's 7 mana, like Agent of Treachery. Hello.
Or Titan of Industry.
Yeah, great cards.
Do you need to gain life? Go get yourself a Siege Rhino. How do you feel about that, Megan?
Bad. Get out of here.
Interesting. Do you need to take something off the table? Go get yourself a Skyclave Apparition.
Oh, so cool. This deck is pretty sick.
I played this when it first happened in Historic. I want to say it is so fun. I love this deck.
Yeah, it seems, I will say this seems very, very cool.
So
and Frank
dumb.
points out that like if what you want to do is just overpower a mid-range deck.
Oh, you will overpower
You can just overpower it with this.
Yes.
You're just like, okay, here's all my weirdo enchantments, and now they're big old creatures.
You will die to an aggressive deck, probably.
Yes, but do you know what? Oh well.
Oh well, you made a bet on mid-range being in the format.
Zur Eternal Schemer.
I'm going to go play this deck. I swear to God.
Very cool.
It's so cool. Yeah, so it'll take a dump on Rakdos mid-range, that's for sure.
So if that's what you want in your life, you know where to look now.
Speaking of aggro, you can play mono red aggro.
Okay.
I mean, you get to play Torbrand, Thane of Redfell again.
Yeah, that card's sick. And you know what? I respect Burning Tree Emissary. What else can I say about it? I respect Burning Tree Emissary.
I mean, I understand.
You have to.
You get to play Kari Zev, Skyship Raider.
Oh man, you remember Kari Zev?
Get your little monkey.
Ragavan. But a less annoying Ragavan.
Yeah, a different Ragavan.
Different Ragavan. Yeah, Runaway Steamkin. Remember that card?
Oh, do I ever remember that card? Embercleave, get
Beep,
cleaved. New card, Phoenix Chick joining the mono red deck here.
This cute little burb.
The cutest card.
Yeah.
From Dominaria United. That's all that I have to say about mono red.
Do you know what? All right. We don't need to keep talking about it. Azorius Control.
Here you go, Megan.
Of course, we've got some great planeswalkers like the Wandering Emperor and Teferi, Hero of Dominaria.
The GOAT.
Yes. We've got some great removal. Some wraths like Hello again, Supreme Verdict.
Welcome.
Guess what you can't counter? Supreme Verdict. Guess what, little spirits?
Yeah,
you
spirits
think that
can't
you're
mess
going to
with
get
that.
in there with the Geistlight Snare and counter this?
No.
No.
You can't.
No, you're
It's
not.
uncounterable.
Shark Typhoon. Shark Typhoon, of course. Lots of card draw like Behold the Multiverse. Some counter spells like Dovin's Veto, Absorb, which is a great one. And yeah, you know, this is just a good old classic control deck.
Classic control.
You're going to draw cards. You're going to wrath everybody's creatures. And then, you know, you're going to use your planeswalkers to hopefully close out the game or just make your opponent mad enough that they quit.
That's generally
whichever comes first.
The category I fall into. And the final deck that we're going to highlight, which may show up at the tournament this weekend, is Rakdos Sacrifice.
Ooh, so this, of course, functions around Witch's Oven and Cauldron Familiar Yield Sacrifice package.
You know, a lot of people underestimate this deck, and then it shows up in tournaments, and it's just a house.
It just is a house. You've still got what you need. You've got Mayhem Devil, you've got Cauldron Familiar, you've got Witch's Oven. The end.
I'm so sick of this stinking deck, but like it still might be good.
Yeah. Do you know what? It probably is. It probably is. Now you also have Obnixilis the Adversary as a way to sacrifice things.
And you've got Oni Cult Anvil, which you could see that version potentially instead of this package. And it might, you know, maybe that one's more powerful even. I don't know, since I'm not a sacrifice player, but that's a possibility.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you ever want to play sacrifice, you always can in some format or another.
There's always a way.
There's always a way.
Which of these decks are you bringing, Megan?
Ooh. Okay, if I was playing, gosh, I would probably bring the Grease Fang deck.
Yeah, the Grease Fang one for
Seems
sure.
like very
and it's
fun.
the right answer because we're going to be playing against the best players in the world, so we just got to cheese out some wins.
Exactly. Do you know what? If I was playing against the best players, I'd be like, well, we're just going to try and YOLO hard.
Absolutely.
And see if we get there.
So that is Explorer, but it's not the only constructed format at the tournament.
No, there is also, of course, Standard, much more developed format.
Yeah.
We've had some weeks now since rotation, although it is still a pretty exciting environment because things have still very recently turned over.
Yeah, that's true.
We have turned the page, flipped over the book, read to the next chapter. I'm out of metaphors, and the last two were already pretty bad.
And Dominaria United was not going to sit back and be like, I'm not going to be in your standard format. Oh no, we have a lot of newcomers who are shaping the standard format, which is a very refreshing thing to say, honestly, after a few sets where standard didn't change much with the addition of them. Most notably, Shouldered the Apocalypse,
great
being kind of
card.
the all-star.
Yeah, and Standard was very recently shaken up with the ban of Meat Hook Massacre.
Yeah, Meat Hook Massacre, you're out of here. Mm-hmm. That's very important. So the first deck we're going to talk about is arguably the most powerful deck in the format, which is Esper Midrange.
Whew, it's been around. It's still around. It looks slightly different, but it still do same thing.
Yeah. Rafine, Scheming Seer, put it in the air, connive.
Yeah.
Kill your opponent.
Kill your opponent.
That's like a very simplified version,
what
but
you're doing, killing your opponent.
That's this all-star card.
It also plays Shieldred the Apocalypse, of course.
Gotta play Shieldred.
Card is
Are you playing black?
Excellent.
Put Shieldred in there.
Very, very good. It's got a Tenacious Underdog. Once again, are you playing black? Then you're going to be playing Tenacious Underdog.
Absolutely.
It now has Urtai Resurrected. to help you counter spells or kill creatures.
I love that this deck we're looking at, this example from Andre Strosky, is playing 2 copies of Phyrexian Missionary too.
Oh, yeah.
Get stuff back if you need to.
Get stuff back from the graveyard.
Wandering Emperor is in the list. Kaido Shizuki is in the list.
Wedding Announcement. It's a classic value.
It's all very good.
Value.
Basically, every single one of these cards is great.
Yeah.
So if you're playing against this deck and you're like, what should I counter? It feels like everything.
The answer is everything somehow. Woof.
Yeah. Seems really, really, really popular and powerful.
Yeah. Yep.
Seems popular. It is popular and it seems powerful. There we go.
Next up is Jund Midrange.
Okay.
This is playing some of the same hits. I mean, you've still got Shieldred. You've still got Tenacious Underdog. It does have other cards in red that are like...
You
it does
want to
have
play
other
them.
cards that red adds, yes, like Fable of the Mirror Breaker, obviously. We come back to Blood Tithe Harvester, just being a really excellent card. This one has Briar Bridge Tracker. This is 2 and a green for a 2/3 Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, investigate. As long as you control a token, it gets +2/+0.
And since we're playing so heavy black because we're playing Shieldred and Tenacious Underdog, we can play 4 copies of Invoke Despair.
Yeah.
Which is one you've always got to be on the watch out for.
I've gotten wrecked by Invoke Despair.
Absolutely.
A lot of times.
1, black, sorcery. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. If they can't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Then repeat this process for an enchantment and a planeswalker.
Woof.
Pretty devastating to get hit with that when you don't have any of the above in play.
Yeah. In Jund, you can also play Unleash the Inferno.
Yes, you absolutely can.
This is 1 black, red, green. It deals 7 damage to target creature or planeswalker. When it deals excess damage this way, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to the amount of excess damage.
Yeah, this is a nice little bonus 2 for 1 there.
Nice card.
Up next, if you still want to play Jund, but you want to do something a little differently, you can play Jund Reanimator. Excuse me?
So how are we reanimating things?
I like to reanimate things. I mean, like, if you like to play Greasefang, you like to reanimate, so.
That's true. You're already pulling them out of Yield Graveyard. This uses the Cruelty of Gix.
Such a good card.
As its reanimation tool. 3 black for an enchantment Saga with read ahead. 1, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a creature or planeswalker card from it. That player discards that card. 2, search your library for a card. Put that card into your hand, then shuffle. You lose 3 life. And 3, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control.
A graveyard, by the way.
A graveyard.
Liliana of the Veil is going to help you pitch stuff.
Yes,
to reanimate.
Absolutely, it is. As is Fable of the Meal Breaker. I keep saying it.
They're going to have to print it now. You've said it so many times.
I've said it so many times. It basically already exists.
It's already a real card now.
It's here. It exists.
Fable of the Meal Breaker.
Oh my goodness.
Which chapter 2 lets you throw stuff away.
Yes. Yeah, and what are we getting back? Well, of course, we've got Shieldreds.
I mean, might
always
as well.
here. Titan of Industry.
Again.
Really great card. Soul of Windgrace. This is a great Jund card.
This is a fabulous card
Really
and another reason to
powerful.
play Jund.
Yes.
You can discard lands to gain life. You can discard lands to draw cards. You can discard lands to give a Soul of Windgrace indestructible.
Yeah, really, really strong card.
Yeah, I think that's a fabulous reason to play this deck. So there you go. Those are the 2 flavors of Jund you might come across.
Yeah. Of course, we've got still more mid-range, but this time it is Grixis.
What flavor do you like your mid-range?
Ooh, I think I really like this Grixis version. I remember at the last set championship is when we first kind of started to see these Grixis ones that were based around some vampires.
Yep.
And Corpse Appraiser. This is just a really cool card.
Corpse Appraiser is the reason for the season.
Yes. Blue, black, red for a 3/3 vampire rogue. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard. If a card is put into exile this way, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put 1 of those cards into your hand and the rest into your graveyard.
This is the only reason anybody plays this deck is because of this card.
It is very good.
It's just real good.
It's just really excellent. You've got other vamps like Blood Tithe Harvester, of course. Mid-range stuff like Tenacious Underdog.
Shieldred again.
Everything has Shieldred. If we don't say it, just assume that it has Shieldred.
I like that this list we're looking at includes Florian.
Yeah.
Voldaran Scion, which is a cool deck that you can, at the beginning, let me just read it. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, which is a little weird, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the total amount of life your opponent's lost this turn. Exile one of those cards and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and then you can play the exiled card. So it's a really cool payoff for dealing your opponent's damage.
I also like that this deck makes use of its blue with Make Disappear. 1 and a blue, instant, casualty 1, counter target spell unless its controller pays 2.
I've been playing mono blue tempo in standard, and Make Disappear is the card that makes my opponents disappear. I'll tell you that. They hit the old concede button.
It is upsetting when it happens to you.
I love playing that deck. We're going to get to it a little bit later in this list. But first we have to talk about Domain.
Oh man, Domain Control is the next list that Frank has here. It is built around cards like Zur, Eternal Schemer, Topiary Stomper, Llanowar Green Widow, Herd Migration, obviously. This is the big one here, as is Drag to the Bottom. So Herd Migration is 6 and a green domain, create a 3/3 green beast creature token for each basic land type among lands you control, and 1 and a green, discard it, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, you gain 3 life. Drag to the Bottom is 2 black domain. Each creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is 1 plus the number of basic land types among lands you control.
So those are 2 amazing payoffs for playing Domain, being able to sweep the board for just 4 mana, or playing a huge Herd Migration to make 5 3/3 beasts. Yeah. But more than that is even a more fun thing to do, I would argue.
You can play the Kami War.
You can play the Kami War.
This card is so sick. 1 white, blue, black, red, green. Chapter 1, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls.
Exile.
2, return up to 1 other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then each opponent discards a card.
Sick.
3, exile the saga, return it to the battlefield transformed as Okagachi Made Manifest, which is a big old dragon.
I love this card.
It is really great. Also, you get to cast Leyline Binding for a single white mana.
I've been playing this deck in standard too. Yeah. It's so fun.
It's so fun. I will say that I don't always feel like it's powerful enough.
No, I think it's a little too clunky.
Yes. Personally. I think clunky is the exact right word for it.
They try to get around that by playing cards like Reckoner Bankbuster to help smooth your draws and stuff.
Yeah, but
it's not enough.
It's just a little too rough.
It's like almost there, right?
So close.
But it's no cigar, in my opinion. The next deck is the one we tease, which is Mono Blue Tempo. This is the one I've kind of switched into since messing around with the Kami War. We dated for a little while, but I'm ready to commit.
Yeah. All right. Tell us about it.
To Delver of Secrets.
Wow.
This card was a modern powerhouse for so long.
Yeah.
And then it was like, bye. And now here it is in standard again, which it starts out as just a little 1/1 for 1, you know?
Yep.
I'm assuming.
Do you know what? That's all it is forever. Wait a second.
At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal it. If it's an instant or sorcery, you get to transform it into a 3/2 flyer.
Nice.
The Insectile Aberration.
You've also got, of course, Tolarian Terrors.
Yeah.
Because 5/5s for 1 are good.
Out there. Turns out.
They're good.
It's good.
And Haughty Djinn.
Yeah.
This is 1 blue for a star 4 flyer. Its power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. And instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast.
This is a great little added additional ability from Haughty Djinn, because if you get the Djinn out there.
It's so good.
It's great. It's a little risky, right? To play a 3-mana card in this very aggressive deck. And you want to protect your creatures. You've got Slip Out the Back to be able to protect stuff. You've got Shore Up to protect stuff, but you often are pretty cramped on mana since you're only running 21 islands.
Yeah.
So playing your Haughty Djinn out allows you to be able to play cards to protect them, like Make Disappear for just a single blue mana.
Even though I'm looking at the word when you said Haughty Djinn, I heard HOTTIE.
Haughty Djinn.
Oh, this Haughty Djinn.
I mean, oops, they're hot for Haughty Djinn. I think could be a contender.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. They've got some a 6-pack and some sweet spiked hair.
A sick pack.
It is their outfit they're wearing, their vest is like got a triangle, like a Superman triangle, but it's cut out so you can
specifically see their abs. Great.
I didn't go to the gym for these, for you not to see them.
For you not to look at them.
It's just a really fun deck. Can reload its hand with Thirst for Discovery. and just counter anything your opponents want to do. It's very rude, very mean, and they get dead. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I like this deck.
Next up is 5-color humans. This deck is wild.
It's about playing with Joda, the Unifier.
This is the 5-color deck built around Joda the Unifier with not just humans but legendary humans.
Yes, specifically.
It is trying to play Joda and then play humans so that you cascade into other great legendary humans.
Yeah, you've got Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, a classic famous human.
Yep. You have Adeline. You have Catilda, Lagrella, Shauna, Torrens. You know all these people. You know King Darian.
Yeah.
You know Helena and Elena.
This deck seems really fun,
You
too.
know them.
Do you like to play creatures? This is the deck for you.
This deck is for you.
Can it hang? I don't think so.
No.
But it's really cool.
Seems unlikely. Maybe we're wrong, but
you never know.
Unlikely.
You never know.
Yeah.
And finally, we have Boros Reanimator. So
Ooh.
this is the one you had Invoke Despair, the black version of this deck. This is the white version that's playing Invoke Justice instead.
Yes. 1 white sorcery. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among any number of creatures and or vehicles target player controls.
So you've got a mono white deck playing Rafine's Informant. I love that. Get
So
out
good.
there. Spirited Companion to draw cards,
Cute.
find you what you want, the good little doggy.
Yeah. You have Sanctuary Warden.
It's a great
Of course,
one.
this card is just so good. Sarah Paragon to play stuff out of your graveyard. Ao the Dawn Sky. This is a big old dragon from Neon Dynasty.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Reckoner Bank Busters. Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
It's the only red card in this list.
Yes. Restoration of Iganjo, which will help you pitch stuff into your graveyard also.
I played against this deck a few times on the ladder.
Oh, yeah?
And it's kind of cool.
It seems pretty sick.
Yeah, and if you're able to pitch your stuff and get, reanimate a Sanctuary Warden, that's like pretty close to a GG right there. That card's a house. It seems like a fun deck. I did lose to it a couple of times.
Yeah.
So.
As Frank points out in the article, Graveyard Trespasser is like very much a card in this format. So many decks are playing black already, and it's just a card that you already want to be playing in black because it's so good. So like some of these reanimate decks might have some trouble when it comes to yield Graveyard Trespasser.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Lots of yield stuff today.
Which of these decks are you bringing, Megan?
Ooh, that's so tough.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I think, like we said, I love playing the domain control deck just because it's just so fun.
If you get to cast Kami where you feel like you've won.
Exactly. It's just such a good time, but I know it's not good. So I'd probably end up on something worse.
Worse than that one?
Worse and sillier. No. I think I'd maybe do Grixis mid-range.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
I like me a Corpse Appraiser.
I'm going to play the mono blue tempo list.
Yeah, of course
I don't think it's the best, but it's still like really fun. And you can definitely get wins out there if you're on the play and you're able to just counter all the stuff that matters.
Good times.
You definitely get draws, just like Boggles, that your opponent cannot deal with.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a look at the constructed formats, Explorer and Standard, that'll be played at the World Championship this weekend. And we talked about draft. So we've covered the formats. Now let's talk about the players.
The players.
So 32 players in the field. Small field tournament, like we said. The cream tends to rise to the top.
Yeah.
Who, Megan, are you picking as the person to win the whole
You're making
thing?
me pick first?
Don't you want to pick first? Then I can't pick who you pick.
Okay, that's
You get
fair.
the full...
Do you know what? I was unsure, but then now I'm ready to make my pick, and I feel 100 about it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes. I am picking Jan Moritz Merkel.
God dang it! This is why I should have let you pick first.
You just made me pick first, and then pointed out that way we couldn't pick the same one. Like I wouldn't feel bad when you picked mine.
I'm so mad at myself right now.
And do you know what? As soon as I said it, I was like, this is going to have been Maria's pick.
Yep. 100% Jan.
I think Jan is just one of the best possible picks that you could make for this tournament.
Jan is on fire right now.
He is so good. He's he's been an excellent player for decades.
For a long time.
He won his very first Pro Tour that he ever played in.
Yep.
Pro Tour Kyoto way back in the day.
How do you like that? Winning the first Pro Tour you ever play.
Sorry, Pro Tour Kobe.
Kobe.
In 2006.
And he was like just a young kid at the time too.
Just a kid. And then like he also placed third in last year's World Championship.
Yes, he did.
He's just been, I feel like he had disappeared for a while, and it's just because he wasn't really playing Magic, and then he decided to play Magic again.
Like, I think I'll win again.
And he's good at it.
Yeah, it's a great pick.
He's a great Magic player. He's just doing great.
Just stole my idea. There's literally, you could choose anybody, and I don't think it would be a bad choice necessarily in this field. There's so many strong players. You could there's a case for picking Yuta to do it back to back. Yuta's done
great player.
Not only the reigning world champion, but also qualified twice for this tournament.
Yeah.
So, why not?
Just an excellent player. Yeah, testing with a fantastic team.
The Japanese team is out of this world.
The team that put four players into the Innistrad set championship top 8, which is just absurd. Testing with those players against, that they're going to bring stuff that is good. Yeah,
I think that's a solid choice. I also think Jean-Emmanuel Depraz is a great choice.
I mean, we talk about this all the time. Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, just absolutely absurd at the game of Magic. Like, very, very good.
Consistently putting up incredible results.
Yep, in the top 8 of the last 2 Magic World Championships.
Yeah, he was the finalist in the last one. So he didn't win, obviously, but got as close as you can get without winning. Those are my 2.
He's very good at limited also.
That's a good point.
Which they're going to draft, and draft is going to be important.
Man. God. Yeah, I think I'll go with Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, my choice here.
Great pick. Stellar pick. Great player.
Other notables at this tournament, Yuki Ichikawa, I think would be a fantastic pick for taking this thing down.
Yeah. I mean, Hall of Famer Shota Yasuoka is playing. Obviously, just one of the best players.
Yeah, I think that's
playing the game.
A fabulous choice. Or you could go kind of with like somebody like Simon Gertzen or Reed Duke, who are Pro Tour staples for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of like the whole team of up and comers led by David Inglis, who like put together a big team of like lots of up and coming players that are playing in this tournament. I think any of them could be a great choice, right? Like they want it bad.
Absolutely.
They're going to be trying hard.
They're going to be going for it.
Yeah.
And you've got the new kids on the block like Johnny Gutman.
Yeah, exactly.
Zoomers.
the Zoomers.
The Zoomers are coming for you, all you Magic boomers.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. Zach Keeney is a good choice too.
Yeah.
Simon Nielsen.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like there's tons of great players in this field.
I'm so excited to see what happens this weekend. First of all, I can't believe it's this friggin' weekend that this is happening.
It's already this weekend.
But we're going to know on Sunday.
Yeah.
So my pick, Jean-Emmanuel Depraz. Your pick.
Yeah. Jan Moritz Merkel. Because you let me pick first.
I'm such a dink. Such an incredible dinkus. But who will win? There's only one way to find out. That's by watching on twitch.tv/magic starting at 9 a.m. Pacific, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Come check it out.
And if you're hanging out at Magic 30, we hope to see you there. What an incredible time to be like having. Here we are back.
What a time to be alive.
Here we are back to in-person large scale events.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I'm still obviously I'm in shock thinking about it.
I know.
Because it hasn't happened yet. And
there's a time like summer of 2020 feels like 1 billion years ago.
It does.
And part of me is like, when that was happening, did I ever think that this would happen again? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Some part of me thinks that at the time I was like, it'll just be a couple of months or whatever.
Yeah, we thought it'd be a couple months. No, it was not. Years. It was years. Wow.
We're going to see people we haven't seen in 3 years, our coworkers.
Yeah.
For a long time.
I'm looking forward to it.
I just am obviously I can't handle this. But I better quick be able to handle it because we're going to play tomorrow.
Together. I might lose my mind being around this many people. Like Vegas might overwhelm my little old nervous system.
It's already like the place that a million people are.
I'm going to melt into a puddle.
Yeah.
And not be able to get up again.
But if you want to recap on everything that happens, make sure to tune in next week too. We'll give you the behind the scenes info from the World Championship. Oh, excuse me. The hot match.
The hot match. The hot match of the year. Thank you.
Do you ever think to yourself, I have so many Magic the Gathering cards?
Too often. Just all the time.
Do you play Magic? Chances are you've got a hot pile of those somewhere.
Piles of cards.
Piles, plural.
And maybe you're one of the people who's gone online and been like, can I buy a card catalog? And the answer is no, everybody wants a card catalog. You cannot purchase one.
They're just not around anymore because all Magic players have bought them up.
Yes. But don't worry. Ultra Pro has made a solution for you.
Has this ever happened to you? Have you lost nights of sleep? Been disturbed while you try to read a book in your own home? Accidentally eaten a handful of cardboard instead of a snack? Then you need the Pro Storage 3-drawer organizer from Ultra Pro. Each unit stores more than 1,000 cards. Stacks easily. Can be clearly labeled. Keeps your Magic collection safe and you safe from your Magic collection. Sleep peacefully. Read in safety. Snack with confidence. With the Pro Storage 3-drawer organizer. Available now from Ultra Pro. Use code GLHF for 5% off anything you buy. So there you go. The Ultra Pro 3-drawer organizer holding more than 1,000 cards.
Woof. It's just great. It's
really
nice.
really nice, everybody.
They sent us a couple. We have an IKEA shelf.
Yeah, they
like
fit.
The cubes.
They fit in the cubes.
You have a little stack of 6 drawers, 2,000 cards, beautifully organized in just one single cube of one of your storage or like one of your shelves.
Yeah, and if you want 5% off on a storage solution for yourself or your friends, you can use code GLHF at checkout. Get 5% off. Save yourself some money for like a really beautiful, clean way to store your cards and get rid of that mess in your house. Well, everybody, that's this episode of Good Luck High Five.
How about that?
Magic 30 coming up this weekend. We hope you'll celebrate wherever you are. If you're in Las Vegas, if you're doing the virtual event, or if you're just at home listening to our beautiful faces. We're so happy that you're part of our community.
Listening to our faces. Just remember, if you're there, have a great time. Mask up, wash your hands a bunch. Be so happy to see all your friends. And if you chose not to go, don't worry. Don't have FOMO.
No.
You made the right choice for you. And maybe we'll see you at the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can join in for the virtuals tickets are still available. They're $30.
See all the panels. We know that Mark Rosewater is going to have some really fun panels.
Yes.
Obviously.
Brian David Marshall is going to be interviewing Richard Garfield.
Ooh,
that'll be a fun one to watch.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So and that's just $30 for like the online pass to all.
I think that's worth it.
You
also get a Magic Online event access and an Arena event access token with it, and you get some like an avatar, a little geary avatar and sleeve. So I think it's a good deal
for sure.
And even if you don't do that, you can listen to this podcast. You can watch on twitch.tv/magic and check out the World Championship. So there's so much, no matter how you approach the game of Magic, to involve yourself in this weekend. Command Zone is going to be playing live.
Yeah.
They're going to have a live Command Zone. Game nights live, which will be pretty cool.
And remember, if you see us there and you want to say hi, do it.
Yeah, come give us a high five. I'll bring a Sharpie so we can sign some cards for you.
And I'll tell you.
What, Megan? What will you tell them?
I'll tell you, of course I'd sign a card. I'll also have a Sharpie. I'll tell you, of course I also have a Sharpie.
Maybe we'll bring some stickers for you too.
Yeah, you know. See you there. I'll tell you to go fuck yourself.